Welcome to the Winner Circle, the podcast covering jujitsu, MMA, and other combat sports. I am one of your hosts, Eugene Plowden, and with me, as always, one of my podcast partners, Isaiah Gatherings. What's up, man?
What's up, man?
If this is your first time with us, I want you to know we are members of the Martial Arts Center Network, and on Mondays, you got the Winner Circle with myself, Isaiah Gatherings, Chris Walker, Angel Diaz. Tuesdays, the Inside Scoop with Alex and Jeff. Wednesdays, you can get the traditional way with Brett Shumway. And Thursdays is Fists, Kicks, and Flicks with myself, Joe Hartley, and Angel Diaz. For more information, you can check us out on all of our social media platforms. Just look for the Martial Arts Center Network on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and Patreon. And don't forget about the main app, the Martial Arts Center Network app. Zeke, it's showtime. What's happening, man?
Not a lot, man. Not a lot. Living the dream, right? Living the dream.
How was Halloween, man?
Halloween was it wasn't bad. I mean, it was uneventful here. You know, my kids are grown, and I didn't get no treaters knock on my door. Thank God, I didn't decorate. So I mean, that's not a gated community. So you'd have to get the code to get in here to even do anything. But no, it was chill. At my academy back in Michigan, they did a trunk or treat. And
I still haven't done one of those yet. I still have not done one of those.
It was our first one. It was our first one that we've ever done. And it went off well. I got they sent me some pictures, some videos. And they had, not a lot of kids. It just goes to show, how different the times are. There's just not a lot of kids that go out and do this anymore. I thought we would have got a lot of traffic because, again, I'm on a busy street, and I'm next to all businesses. And when I was younger and we would trick or treat, you knew that it was good when you were going to a lot of businesses. They would give you better treats, So I assumed that would be a case. And with them, our parking lot is right off of the main street as well, off of Gratiot. So it's like if they're walking down the street and they saw all of the cars there and that were decorated, I thought that would have attracted them over there. But they just said it wasn't a ton. The people that walked by or that was in the neighborhood, they did come and trick or treat there, but it wasn't just a lot of trick or treaters. So some of my students went up there, enjoyed it, and then some of the kids in the neighborhood. But it was a good time, and they had a good time. So
this is my first time in a long time. I didn't go out for trick or treat. I just had to take my son out this year, so I pretty much stayed home for the first time in 12 years or so. And my wife's daughter, my stepdaughter, she was with her dad. So he took her out. So this is the first time we just got to stay home and just watch TV, watch movies at home, So
yeah, it really didn't feel like Halloween. I mean, it was totally uneventful.
Mm-hmm.
That's good though.
I asked my son. I asked him, like he really didn't seem like he was really that interested in going trick or treat. Like I've been asking him since July. What did he want? What did he want to get? Because I wanted to jump on and get. If he picked some expensive ass costume, I want to know in advance.
Right.
Sorry, I'm not trying to wait to the last minute and then can't find it and so like July, August, September, like he was taking his time and he finally decided to be a businessman, and that's what he wanted to be, was a businessman. So his mom threw something together. Like she didn't go out and buy no businessman costume, so she went and found some stuff for a suit to wear, and his grandmother had a briefcase for him. So they put something together, and he was a businessman. So
worked
him and
out.
his friends wanted to go. Yeah, and he told me, he said, you know what, Dad, he's like, next year might be my last year going out trick or treating, or maybe the year after. He's like, but he's getting to the end of it now, so. And then he asked me how old I was when I stopped going trick or treating, and I stopped pretty young. I was 13 when I stopped going out. I just kind of enjoyed just having a party at the house and passing out candy and scaring the people that when they came to the house to get candy. So
my last one, I got chased by Michael Myers and he shot at us.
Oh, yeah. East Side.
Yeah. Yep. Chased by Michael Myers, shot at us. He shot at us and it grazed my arm. It was.
He had a BB gun or something? Or he was probably real.
I didn't know that. Right. Regardless, like even still, what a ridiculous situation to happen. First of all, I'm terrified of Halloween, Michael Myers. So what a nightmare it was for me. Like I just happened to be terrified of this particular character, like more so than any of the other characters in the horror genre. this guy, and it was daylight outside. It wasn't night. You know what I mean? It's like it was maybe like I don't know 5:30 in the afternoon. You know, and yeah, dude he stood there with that Michael Myers gaze, and we looked at him, and we was walking, and he just stood there, and then dude just took off and started chasing us, and we started running, and then I felt something graze my arm, and I'm like, this dude's shooting. You know what I'm saying? Like, what has happened here? Like this thing escalated fast. So yeah, I don't remember the age. I remember the incident, and that was the last time I went trick or treating. I'm yeah, I think I'm done now.
What area were you in, man? Were you in Mac and Bewick? If you know, you was over in Mac and Bewick, man.
No. I was over by 8 Mile and Gratiot area.
Okay.
Yeah. It was rough. I was like, I think this is a good time to stop. Right? Probably around the same age as you, 13, something like that, 14. I was like, yeah, I think it's time to wrap this up.
Okay. Yeah, man. So other than that, man, like I like next year, I told my wife, like next year we probably should do something for the kids. Halloween next year should be on Saturday, I believe. So I might throw a Halloween party maybe Friday night next year for the kids. I've never done that. And you know, Ski's been on me. Like Ski's always telling me I need to do more things, you know, fun things at my school. But for so long, man, it's just been me.
Yeah,
you know, I didn't have any people helping me. You know, I didn't have any assistance or anything like that. And now, you know, now that I have some teenage black belts, now that my wife is around, I finally have some, you know, some bandwidth, you know, that I can be able to do certain things now. So, you know, maybe next year, I'm planning for next year just to start really getting into some things. And I know that, you know, at my uncle's school, we used to throw a karate school picnic every year, and eventually myself and Ski, we pretty much took over the picnic from my uncle, and me and Ski were planning to get the park and get the permits and everything. And I don't think he's done a picnic since it's probably close to 30 years now, because I haven't done one in a long time. So
I've never been a part of any picnic, so it had to stop. It had to stop a while ago, because when I was going there, I was 2 feet in. When I was there, I was all in. You know, that's how I am. I don't have to do nothing. So I was, when I was there, I was there, and I would have definitely went. I would travel with the team all the time, and it was every class. So I never heard anything about it.
Yeah, so that must have been the last time we must have threw one. Might have been 97 or 98, and I don't think he's done one since then. So you know, the last few years I've been planning to do a picnic for not only my school but my uncle's school, and I was going to invite Ski and Pete's school also to be involved with it, because we're all pretty much, you know, part of the same tree.
Sure.
You know, as far as the Plowden Martial Arts extended family, you know. So I was thinking about all of us just getting together and doing the picnic together, and maybe do some competition games against each other or whatever. So
yeah, so you know, back to the Halloween thing. When I had my school previously, I would do one every year, and never really thought to do it as a lead generator. Don't know why. That just wasn't my thing. It was more for the retention based. Like a lot of stuff, I had a decent amount of students. It was good, a retention based thing. We always kind of presented ourselves to have a family atmosphere. So it really helped with the bonding with the students and with the staff and the parents and things like that. And yeah, we would go out and we would have we would take them trick-or-treating first, and then when they come back, we would have like a party at the school, you know, and then we would check all of the kids' bags, every one of them, all the candy in the bags. We just pour it out on the mat, check them, put them back in there, and then we would give the kids a bag of candy as well. We had pizza there. We play, you know, musical chairs. It was like and I had a decent sized staff, to your point, to your credit, to where they were able to help me with these things. Me and Brian would go out in the neighborhood, a couple other students and the parents with the kids while they trick or treat. They would be back at the dojang putting stuff together, and it just kind of really worked well. The events like that, as well as like with the picnic, we had one every year. Every year we'd have one in July, and it was really good bonding experiences to be able to keep the retention. We never really built it to be able to be lead generators. I really didn't think along those lines back in the day. I don't know. I mean, I was kind of blessed where I was getting students just haphazardly, not even really trying, you know, too hard, you know, to be able to promote things. Now with me running it remotely, then I look at things different. So like we did the trunk or treat because I wanted to use it as a lead generator. So all those years that I had the Halloween parties and things like that, I never got one student from it, but it helped to keep the students that I have. Mm-hmm. Now we passed out some 10-day free passes. We did like a best costume award where we gave like a month away or whatever. And I got over the past, I think I have 4 people redeem their little 10-day pass coupons from it, which will potentially be members. And we used it more like a bonding event because we're still new. So the students can get and the parents can get comfortable and be more family oriented with us. But by the same token, also using it as an opportunity as a lead generator to be able to help, bring more students to the school. So he's right. You definitely have to do more things, either whether it be for a retention standpoint and bonding, or to be able to generate leads to be able to potentially get new students. You definitely have to capitalize off of these type of events for sure.
Did you ever do a summer camp at your academy?
Never, and that's Ski been getting on me about that forever.
Yeah, me too. He's been getting on me too.
He's the man with that, man. He's the man. And some people, I mean, they swear by it. Like it's more important and more profitable and more successful than just their karate program together. Like those 3 months can set them up for the entire year. And the minute that they're done with these summer camps, they start planning the summer camp for the next year. And they use all of that time. And I'm like, man, I mean, people swear by it. I can't believe you're not doing a summer camp. And I'm like, no, we aren't, I don't really know how to do it. And then again, I didn't have the staff. And again, just the prospect of me being up there for 8 hours, 5 days a week with these kids. I love kids, right? I don't mind them. I know they come with the territory, with the activity, but 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, I don't know if I could do that.
Yeah. So let me tell you. So I've done them for maybe, I think I did them 3 or 4 summers in a row, but not at my school. This is before I had my own school. So I used to work at a community center. I used to do personal training at multiple community centers. And one of the places was in West Bloomfield. And they wanted me to do a karate summer camp for them. Right. So I did it, like I said, 3 or 4 years in a row. I knocked it out and did it. And then one day I was, the kids were away. See, that's one of the good things. So I had a giant room, empty room, but the kids also went to lunch. They had mentors who would take them to lunch. They had mentors that would take them swimming also, right? So I would have a 2-hour break where I would do nothing. So one day I'm just hanging around the community center, man, and I'm looking at the little magazines about the different events and stuff, right?
Right.
And I see my ad for, because I would do 2 camps for the summer. So okay. I would do one week, and then 2 weeks later I would do another 1 week class, right?
Okay.
And it was and I never knew how much it cost. All I knew is they were paying me $1,000 for 1 week. I'm like, hell, $1,000 for 1 week? Yeah, I'll do it.
Right.
Friday. That's it, I don't have to get no belts, no uniforms, no nothing, And at the end of the week, the parents would come and see what we've taught the kids for that at the end of the week, right? So I would have them do little skits and stuff like that, do basic form number 1 and a skit, and maybe show them the kicks, punches, the basic stuff,
Right.
So I'm looking at the program, and I see how much the classes cost. So the classes were $200. Now, mind you, I'm in West Bloomfield. These people are paying $200 for the whole week, not the month. $200 for the week. So now I'll start doing the math. I counted every kid in there. I'm like, I got 30 kids at $200. That's $6,000. And y'all giving me $1,000?
That's what I'm telling you. I'm telling you, man. I heard the same thing. I heard one of my competitors that's in my area. He was like, I think the low end was $199 for the summer camp a week, but one of the ones a little bit further out, because I was researching when the people in my area when I first opened up. Dude was charging $299 a week, man. $299 a week on Van Dyke. You know what I mean? $299 a week, and I'm like,
in township.
You got it. It was a little bit further up. No, it was further up by like 17 or 18 miles.
So you getting closer. You almost like in Utica.
Exactly.
Home area. Yeah, okay.
Dude talking about $299 a week. And I was just like, you gotta be kidding me. What? And again, I mean, you already know. I mean, I don't know him. I've never been in there. You know what I mean? But you would figure that you would venture that he would probably have somewhere at least between 50 to 70 kids, man. Like easy. Like this was a big facility. You know, and it's just like 50 to 70 kids, man, at $300 a pop a week. And you know, from the beginning of January all the way to the end of August, like 3 months of that.
Oh, you mean June? Okay, you said January. I'm
sorry. The beginning of June. Thank you. Right. The beginning of June for the summer. 3 months at $300 a week, 50 to 70 kids. Come on, man. And it's just like it's and you're doing yourself a disservice to not do it now because the parents don't really care about karate. They just know that their child's in a safe place, that is a moral and ethical place where people are going to watch out for them and they'll be a part of a positive environment and activity. Period. Yeah. They don't care about the karate. Like it's either here or it's the daycare or latchkey. Like, and here is the best and safest place because I know I ain't got to worry about nothing, no violence, nobody get hurt. They can learn something while they're there. These people have been vetted. They are ethical people because of the noble people because of the activity, you know, supposedly. So it's not even really a sale. Like these people who are doing these things, I'm not hearing that they're having to sell this program. They're filling up. Like they're like, this is many spots that we have, and we can't take any more people. My place is so tiny, man. If I got 35, 25, 20, 25 people, or 35 people a week, I'd be passed for. Yeah, I wouldn't even be able to have anywhere to put them because my place is super tiny. You know, so I'm definitely gonna do it next year for sure. You know, I figure it out, but
I would like to be able to rent out a place like one of the YMCA's or something. Like if you guys are hands off and just let me pay you whatever I need to pay you to rent the facility, then yeah, because then you know I could have the kids go to swimming at 1 o'clock. You know, they might play basketball at 11 o'clock or whatever, and I can just add other activities in, like you said, besides karate. Then yeah, I could work something out. But then also, man, I have a full-time job. You know, so like I'm thinking, like, do I want to use a vacation week, my vacation, to work more? That doesn't sound like I'm making much sense right there. You know?
You ain't. See, that's your problem. That's why you ain't doing a whole lot because you ain't all in. You don't have to struggle like us. You got coming in. You got benefits. You got this other stuff. We out here dying. We like, yeah, maybe I'll accept some students. Maybe I won't. You like what? Like, you know, maybe you will. Maybe you won't.
Right.
What are you talking about?
Yeah.
We struggling out here, brother.
Right.
I ain't got no job. Right. This is it. This has to work.
You are 100% right.
Yeah, totally different. You like, maybe I rent a place. I'm like, rent a place and take away the opportunity to introduce these people to my academy. Once this summer program's over with, I want these people to turn to students.
Yeah, this is the thing, man. Like, I think I saw what it was like doing just karate camp when, you know, like I said, when I did it for those 3 or 4 weeks, and by Wednesday, them damn kids were tired of karate. And I didn't have no other backup plan. That's why I said, luckily, like the kids went to lunch like around 11 o'clock. They would be in lunch from 11 to 12. Then they would go to swim from like 12 to 1, or maybe it's a little bit even later than that. Maybe they went to lunch at 12 o'clock from 12 to 1. Then they went swimming from 12 to 1, then 1 to 2. They went to swim. Then they came back to me at 2 o'clock, and I had them till 3 or 3:30, and then they were gone. You know, so they had other stuff that they were doing, so it would break it up, and you know, doing basic karate class.
Oh. But you see the way Ski do it because they don't have karate every day.
Oh yeah, he taught to me. Yeah, he taught to me.
Like, and I went to his school and he got the back set up where he's got like, you know, basketball rim back there. He's got all type of stuff in the back, and I'm like, man, I mean, it's like you definitely right. You have to have other activities for them to be able to do outside of karate. But I personally don't know if I can come up with 8 hours worth of stuff for somebody to do 5 days a week.
Exactly.
I'm not that creative. I'm sorry. I don't know.
Yeah, it becomes a job in itself. And like you said, man, like I don't have that much time to do that without additional help. Now, if I had people there that I could pass off responsibilities to and that I can trust, that's a different story, you know. But as of right now, I don't have that. Now, maybe things will change when, you know, when I retire from my full-time job and I can just focus on karate as my retirement, that'll be a different story then, you know.
Right.
So we'll see what happens.
So if you're watching, we're not live tonight, right?
No.
All right, good. Well, if you're watching when you watch this and you guys have some ideas, Gene don't need them, so you don't have to. He don't care. You don't need him.
I didn't say that.
He'll be just fine. Give me some ideas of how I can have a successful summer camp so I can implement it next year. I need all the smoke. I need all of it. You know what I mean?
Well,
you give it to me, and then we can sort through this and figure this out because I've never done one.
I'm quite sure Jeff Doss got some ideas, man. He's gonna probably say something in our text message, our text group, man. He might let you know, man.
All right, well, I'm ready. I'm ready for it. I'll take all the help I can get.
Let's talk about some of our topics today, man. Right. So I had sent you a message, something I wanted to know about because I think I might have done a Muay Thai class one time. But other than that, I don't really know too much about Muay Thai, other than it's about using I don't want to get it wrong, but it's not 8 limbs, but 8. What it is 8 something?
It's the science of 8 limbs.
8 limbs. Okay. All right. Cool. I was right. All right. So you have your arms, your fists, your elbows, your knees, your feet. Mm-hmm. But what is the difference between Muay Thai and just American kickboxing?
So in American kickboxing, which was really prominent, back, during your uncle's time and era, and that was, more of it's shining, glory days and moments. Those type of rule sets and American karate itself was pretty much everything above the waist as far as, your kicking and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. It was kickboxing above the waist. That was back when you Bill Superfoot Wallace's, you know what I'm saying, and your Joe Lewis's and all those guys back then, the Don the Dragon and those guys. And I'm not saying that they didn't have any low kicking, but it would have to be a special rule set. Like it'd have to be like, okay, this is kickboxing with low kicks, right? It's not implied. So that lets you know that it wasn't a part of the typical rule set for the most part, because you'd have to actually you'd have to actually agree upon that particular rule set. So I'm not saying that they didn't have any, but predominantly it was things that were above the waist. Mm-hmm. Muay Thai, it was what made it different and stand out is the fact that it was the total opposite of that. Like, the majority of the kicks that people were throwing, you're chopping down on the legs, and just a lot of us from the U.S. and American kickboxers were not used to that type of stuff, where people were targeting the legs, which opened up other things. And then definitely there was no elbows allowed, in American kickboxing either. So again, under certain rule sets, perhaps, and these were things that were negotiated, that you might be able to throw knees, but you didn't see it because clinching wasn't allowed either. So just being honest, pure American kickboxing was kickboxing above the waist, without the low kicks and without the knees and without the clinching. So, Muay Thai introduced those concepts, and that's the reason why it really took off. It stood out, and Americans struggled because these were things that were, totally opposite. If we clinched, they broke us up, broke us up back to space. Then you go back out and then you do it again. So now you have this guy, he's coming in, he's smashing down on your legs, he's grabbing you behind your neck, he's pulling you in, he's kneeing the body, he's elbowing you on the way out. Was very brutal, you know what I mean, in comparison to what it was that we were accustomed to and we were familiar with. Mm-hmm. And at one point, I thought it was the most effective martial art. That's why I started training. I was like, I think this is the most effective and complete martial. I don't want to use the word complete. Let me back. I'll take that back. I thought it was the most effective martial arts as relates to street fighting. Like, if I have to defend myself on the streets, this is the kind of violence that I want to be able to impose, on someone. And maybe at the time, maybe I did think it was more complete because jiu-jitsu hadn't really been introduced to us at that level. So you didn't know and understand the deficiencies that it had because of the fact that I wasn't introduced to jiu-jitsu at that time. So to me, when I was thinking about complete, if that was the thought process I was having at that time, it was devoid of understanding or thinking about anything on the ground. I'm thinking about, if I have to actually defend myself in real life, do I want to throw a side kick, you know what I mean, or a reverse punch, or do I want to just bang somebody's leg, elbow them in the face, knee them in the groin or in the body, you know what I'm saying, and drop them? right? So Muay Thai was more geared towards that. So that's what attracted me to it at that particular time, versus any other type of kickboxing or American kickboxing.
Do you think that American kickboxing has any type of advantages over Muay Thai, or is Muay Thai just a more advanced version of American kickboxing?
The truth of the matter is that the American kickboxing, I would say, has an advantage from a movement and a footwork perspective. So as I trained in Muay Thai and I started actually teaching more MMA and just really rounding myself out as a martial artist and studying things, not just training them, but studying them, I realized that honestly, the movements of Muay Thai practitioners are very rigid. If that's your primary art, if that's an art form that you learned primarily and or exclusively, right, then I noticed the way that they move is very rigid. And I have an advantage coming from a sport karate standpoint. Even if I fight the way that they fight, I wouldn't move the way that they moved. So I can use all the same techniques that they're using, but my movement's going to be different. They're really rigid the way that they move, and it's really it's a systematic kind of a way of moving, and it's easy to be able to pick up on that particular routine because it's not as fluid, and as smooth as the way that we move. So American kickboxers are gonna have better movement. They'll have better ring generalship as far as moving around, and they're gonna be a lot lighter on their feet than a Muay Thai practitioner. That would be the advantage. But if we're talking about a ring or we're talking about a cage or something like that, if they start cutting them off, which is easy to do with low kicks, you know what I mean? You start cutting them off. And I'm not saying that Muay Thai only throw low kicks. They throw body kicks and head kicks as well. But that's one of the chief differences that American kickboxers were not used to. They're used to sending a kick them to the head. They're used to sending a kick come to the body. But the legs, they was not used to saying that. But you can cut the ring off easy with those leg kicks, you know what I mean? And really kind of trap them. And once they lose that space, the footwork will no longer be, it will no longer be an issue. It won't be your advantage anymore. The movement won't. And once they trap them in space, that's when it's going to get violent. That's when it's going to end fast.
It seems like when I see the Muay Thai fighters competing, it's like they're stalking down their opponents.
That's exactly
like you're talking about, like with the footwork. Like I could see the American kickboxer and even sport karate guys. We're moving. We're constantly moving. And Muay Thai is like it's almost like Michael Myers. They're walking towards you like in a stalking movement, coming towards you. Okay. Let me see. I had a question about you being a sport karate. Okay, so do you think you did sport karate before you did Muay Thai, right?
Sure. Yes, absolutely.
Okay, so do you think your sport karate training helped you have an advantage as far as when it came to sparring, or even competing against someone else in Muay Thai?
I've never done a Muay Thai competition where I just did straight Muay Thai. But I've sparred with guys, obviously, who are Muay Thai practitioners, MMA guys who use that as their primary form of striking. And my sport karate has always given me an advantage. It always has. It's again, the movement is what is really it helps you to stand out versus anybody or anything else. And when we watch MMA and we see these guys that are struggling to whereas they have to, we talked about this on our podcast a few weeks ago, we got to bring in somebody to help get trained for MVP or stuff like that. They're not have to bring somebody in to train necessarily for the side kick or the back fist or the axe kick. And in some cases they do, right? But it's the movement. After the fights are over with, every time they interview the person, or they'll talk about a past fight that they've had with Raymond or with Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, MVP, they'll all say, I just really wasn't prepared for the movement. I just couldn't get a beat on it because of the movement. He was picking me off with jabs and with roundhouse kicks and pushing me back with side kicks. But I might have been able to figure that out, but it was the movement. And then what was interesting is that nobody that they had that was naturally in their gym or stable could replicate that kind of movement because none of them started off with that kind of sport karate background. Right, so they'd have to bring somebody in, and that's only at a sample size because that person's only going to be there for a limited time. They'll come in for like a week, right? So I might get a beat on them, for that week, but still, if it's not something that I'm accustomed to myself or I'm seeing on a regular basis, it becomes very difficult for somebody to be able to adapt to that. So for me, if the person was faster than me or if the person was stronger than me, my movement always, kept me out of danger and trouble. And I'd just be able to move and use my sport karate movement to frustrate them. And another thing that's fantastic about, hybrid fighters like us that have sport karate as well as learning an actual individual art is that we can switch between the two, and a lot of people can't do that. So I might be getting beat doing Muay Thai. And I'm like, look, I'm going to change my stance up and just go sport karate. You know what I'm saying? Like flat out. I know he ain't going to be ready for this. They can't. If they're losing in what it is that they're doing, it's all that they have. They have no other gear. They have no other art that they can shift and switch to. So yeah, it 100% has helped me with my movement for sure. I'm sorry, just in those sparring situations, my movement has helped me for sure.
Good. What I find interesting is a lot of jiu-jitsu schools, they have Muay Thai in the school, right? But Muay Thai seems like the opposite of jiu-jitsu, like the polar opposite. Like jiu-jitsu is supposed to be the gentle art and controlling people without getting hurt and this, that, and other. And Muay Thai is not that. It's about damaging people and striking. But I don't mind people doing it. That's fine with me. But when I listen to certain people, especially the jiu-jitsu purists, talk about it, I'm kind of surprised that they would even have Muay Thai in the school as an option, because I thought jiu-jitsu is supposed to be the best martial art, the only martial art, in your opinion. Now I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about these people I'm talking about.
Yeah, at some point it became like a partnership, you know what I mean? Like that just made sense. It just became a marriage. And like they started doing it at one place and then it was expected all over. It's like when you see certain gas stations and you'll go in the gas station and then you'll see like a Subway in there and you're like, when did this partnership happen? Where, like I went in one and then I didn't know that it was going to be like this for all of them, where it's Subway and or the chicken, you know what I mean? Like it's somehow this marriage or this partnership just came to be. And it's no other martial art style. It's always Muay Thai. There's nothing else. It's never like a jiu-jitsu, Brazilian jiu-jitsu, and a taekwondo. You know what I mean? It has to be Muay Thai. And I think this came because of the fact that with the prominence of MMA, the sport was growing. Muay Thai was out in the forefront as being one of the more effective striking styles and systems. So, and jiu-jitsu being an art that doesn't have any strikes in it at all. They were like, look, you know what? We don't really agree, but this is what's popular now. It was trending, and people wanted to cross over, and typically, they may be using this jiu-jitsu someday to do MMA. We want to afford them as much opportunity that we can at this academy to where they're able to grow on both sides of things. So Muay Thai was popular. It was being utilized and seen in MMA. So it made sense for them. Muay Thai guys, they're the opposite. They care less about the ground. They don't care anything about that. You know what I mean? They can care less about it at all. Because one thing about Muay Thai is at the very least, it does have a big grappling component. And I didn't understand that or know that until I continued to train in it and study with or be surrounded by high level Muay Thai practitioners and masters. Now, when I say grappling, I don't mean on the ground at all. They don't have any ground grappling at all. I mean grappling as far as neck wrestling, grappling as far as clinch work, and then they have their what you call dumps, which are the foot sweep takedowns that they use, where they dump people down on the ground. So for them, they feel complete, even they like it ain't gonna be on the ground. It's never gonna get to that point, because between my standing grappling, my neck wrestling, and my striking, I'm gonna be okay. So it's an arrogant kind of a thought process, but they don't care anything about jiu-jitsu. So it's not like, see, the opposite is interesting. I thought that's where you were going with it. You wouldn't go to a Muay Thai school and then see jiu-jitsu. So
I wouldn't think so. Yeah, I wouldn't think so.
You wouldn't. But you'll go. It'll be weird to go to a jiu-jitsu school now and they not have a striking program, right? And it just shows you the difference and the thought process and the mindset. Muay Thai, they look at themselves as being their own individual entity because they actually have a culture of competition and competing in itself. That's big. Thailand, Muay Thai is the culture, right? It's not just you train in Muay Thai. It's ingrained in the culture, right? So it's big over there. They feel like we don't need any to add any type of ingredients to what it is that we do. This is big enough on its own. Even in America, spilled over where there's a lot of kickboxing and a lot of Muay Thai competition. So they're not going to have jiu-jitsu programs, predominantly at a Muay Thai place, because in their mind, we're good enough by ourselves. But in jiu-jitsu, you guys don't have any striking as a part of your program. And you already know that probably 50% of the people that are there, if they're not competing just in jiu-jitsu, they're going to also be looking to take their talents to mixed martial arts. So you're going to need us. But we don't need you for what it is that we do, because that isn't our base. That isn't our dynamic. The people who come to us aren't interested in MMA, and if they are, you know what I mean, that's fine. But these people are interested in just Muay Thai.
Let me ask you this, man. Why is it one of the most popular parts of MMA is the stand-up striking? I've seen not jiu-jitsu. I've seen MMA matches when it goes to the ground. I've heard people booing. That the people that's in the audience watching it. Why don't you think that Muay Thai and American kickboxing aren't more popular if people love seeing the stand-up when it comes to MMA? I don't understand. Where's the disconnect? How come we not seeing more kickboxing, Muay Thai cards like Glory was doing at one point in time? I think, did Bellator do something not long ago?
Yes, they did.
Also, they had something also.
Yep.
Why don't you think that's more popular?
Man, I tell you right now, man, if the American public was able to be exposed to more kickboxing, particularly Muay Thai, they would probably fall in love with it. For sure.
I would think so.
And they would definitely not. They would definitely, the interest would not be as high as it is in MMA. So I told you several podcasts back, one of the reasons that I really started watching MMA and really following it really heavy was because of the fact that it was the only place that I could see jiu-jitsu. So I'm like, there was no places, no outlets that you could see jiu-jitsu back then, but in MMA, so you see, not only am I seeing it, I'm seeing it in real time being utilized in a real way to actually win fights. So that's when the respect level started to raise up for it, and I would start following it because I can consistently see jiu-jitsu this way outside of actually going to a tournament. They didn't have all of these outlets right now and these different competitions outside of maybe the Abu Dhabi, and these things were like once a year, and you have to. It was a thing. But MMA, it was on. Like, I can watch the UFC, I can see this, right? So I think that a lot of the striking things and the grappling things that we're seeing, these particular components, people follow MMA because, like I was with the grappling back then, it just wasn't any other place that you can see it. So you get these fans that's watching it who hates grappling and wrestling, but they're watching it because they want to see Gary Goodridge's, and Vanderlei Silvas and people like that have no interest in ground game and just beat the crap out of people standing up. They're looking for the stand up, and then likewise you have people who love the grappling component like I did. We're watching it for jiu-jitsu, so we're booing the stand up and we want to see the wrestling or the ground. But now you're right. We have all of these forums and these promotions to whereas you would think that we would see more of these things, but we're not. As it stands right now, a lot of the kickboxing is still very popular over on the European side, like overseas. And it's not getting broadcasted in America as much because the UFC is a juggernaut. People just don't have the resources to go up against Dana White and those boys over at TKO. The money that they have, they can oversaturate different markets, and they can just shut a lot of things down just based on having the name, the brand name, the money, the finance, the resources. They can shut things down that just a lot of people probably can't combat with. So I think that the lack that you're seeing is because of the fact that people either have the lack of backing, the lack of resources, the lack of vision, or just they're just being blocked in some type of way. Because I think you're right. The American public would much rather see stand-up fighting than a lot of this stuff that we're seeing in MMA with the ground fighting. We're bloodthirsty. We're bloodthirsty fans. It's just the truth of the matter. That's why people love the pugilist and as far as boxing goes. We're bloodthirsty fans. The minute that it goes to the ground, people just lose interest. They don't want to see it, but the opposite is true for like the Japanese fan base. You know, the minute that it goes to the ground, they're clapping. They're, you know, enamored with what's going on. They know what a guard pass looks like. They know when a person's in trouble from a submission standpoint, you know, and it's just the fans have not just a different interest, but I think they have a higher level of IQ as far as what it is that they're watching, and they understand it and they care to understand a little bit more than a lot of the casual American fans. But if I had to just assess what I think that it is, it's just the fact that they have the lack of marketing or advertising resources or tools to be able to just bring it to everybody's television and to everybody's home, because I do agree. I think that most people would much rather see striking competitions than they would see mixed martial arts, where the majority of it is going to be wrestling or grappling components.
How do you think a promotion would go if there was no such thing as ground and pound? So you only have, if you wanted to strike, you had to stand up. The moment it goes to the ground, you have to go through some grappling. How do you think a match or a promotion like that would go?
I think that, you know, we're going to probably see a little bit of everything over the course of time. I do believe that right now we're trying to find ways to be able to reinvent things while keeping core elements to figure out unique fan bases.
Mm-hmm.
And so nothing's off the table right now. One championship's a great example of a market that's really adapted to being able to say, why do we have to have just a kickboxing show? Because remember, Bellator had the Bellator kickboxing, like you brought up, and then had the Bellator MMA. They're like, I don't really understand why I have to have a different show. You know, like, why can't we just do it all tonight? I remember back in the day when it was Pride, and you'd have to sit up at all weird hours of the night. Me and my boy Nate would get together. I go over his house, he come over mine, and they didn't care nothing about no time difference. Like, they like, look, this is the time it's gonna be. So we might start watching it at 10 or 11 o'clock at night, and it plays through the morning, and we would sit there and watch it because you didn't know what the next time it was going to come on. So literally, he would come over 10 o'clock at night, 11 o'clock, and we start watching the card. And it might not go off to 7 in the morning. These cards were 7 to 8 hours long. And the thing is that they're like, I don't understand why it has to be one or the other. We're going to just do everything tonight. And one championship, they're like, that's fine. We'll just have a grappling match. We'll have a kickboxing match. We'll have an MMA match. It's all going to be in a ring. And all of these people are going, it's going to be something for everybody, right? So they probably have done it the best and figured out the best kind of recipe of being able to do this. As a result, they're huge in everywhere except for the United States. Every other country, they have it locked down, and they're the biggest name in every other country, bigger than the UFC. But just for the American fan base, they're having a difficult time cracking over here because some of the things that I articulated a little while ago. But
I've never even seen an advertisement for them. Like, their social media game over here, like, is null and void. I don't see it. It's non-existent to me.
You mess around and you cut the TV on, it happens to be on. I'll cut on, I think they're on, I don't know if it's Peacock or Prime. It's on one of them. I'll cut the TV on. Yeah, they got to deal with, it's either Peacock or Prime. It's one of the two. I can't remember. I'll cut the TV on, searching for something, and it'll just be there. One championship's live, and I'm like, oh, that's on right now, and I'll click it. Like, that's the only time I see it. You know,
that's the same thing. Like, we were just talking about with
the Karate Combat.
We were just talking about that, and I didn't even know Karate Combat was on Friday. I had no idea till yesterday.
Yeah.
When I saw the results and Uriah Hall fought, and it wasn't Ross that he fought, it was some other guy that he fought.
It was some other guy, because the dude hit him with some weird spinning hook kick and kind of like dropped him for like a half a second. He tried to throw a spinning hook kick. My man dodged it. And then he tried to do some move, and he hit him with a spinning hook kick, like going down, and he knocked him down, and then Uriah jumped on top of him and did some ground and pound. It was some type of clip that I saw. It was pretty cool. But I don't know who won, but I saw the clip, so I was like, oh, this has happened. I thought he was supposed to fall Ross. I'm thinking the same thing as you. But no advertising for it.
None. I didn't see any at all. And I mean, it's not like I'm not on social media, so I have no idea why I did not, see the ad for it, and I follow Karate Combat, so I have no idea why I didn't see anything on Facebook or Instagram, and I follow them on both, So
yeah. So to answer your question, I think that it's coming. You know, I think that right now is just a situation where they're just trying to find different ways where they can keep the core component of something. Okay, we're gonna keep it where it's MMA, but what if we take this out? Okay, what if we add this? What if we throw weapons in there? You know, in the second round, and see, like, you know, it's going to be every ridiculous evolution of this until they feel like they can find the sweet spot to be able to get to get a certain type of fan base that, or appease a certain type of fan base that doesn't have its own lane right now. So it's like we like MMA, but we don't like this part of MMA. You know what I mean? We like this, but we don't like that. And it's like, okay, so what if we just take this out? So they're going to keep, I think we're going to see a lot of different, you know what I'm saying, evolutions of this thing until they can corner a particular market and appease a certain group of fans that aren't happy with what they're seeing now.
I think in MMA, I think that's the ground and pound is my least favorite part of MMA. And it's not that I think it's too violent or anything like that, but you know, because I used to like Matt Hughes, I used to like Tito Ortiz when they used to fight, and those guys were so good at wrestling. If they got you down on the ground and was smashing, you weren't getting up. It was a hard time for someone to get up from up under Matt Hughes if he took you down. And same with Tito. I mean, besides Chuck Liddell, you know, when Tito get you down, he was smashing guys, and I don't think I want to see that for 5 rounds because I mean, these guys, it wasn't too many guys that were like going out, so they're just getting smashed for 5 rounds. It becomes boring after a while because they weren't even able to really even get them in any type of submissions either. It wasn't back and forth. If they got you down, they were just smashing you.
But see, that's the problem, though. Think about what you just said. So I remember my instructor, you know, when UFC first started coming around, and I was telling them, I was like, "Yeah, you watch the UFC, you know, it was the guy was going in for these submissions, and he was, you know, he did a lot of jiu-jitsu, and you know, he was always be like, you know, he's a friend of mine as well, you know, Monteith. He's like, man, them guys can't fight, you know, Monteith, you know what I mean? Tyrone.
I never met him, but I've spoken with him, yeah.
Yeah, he's like, man, those guys can't fight, and I was like, what you mean they can't fight? You know what I mean? And I was telling him it was a guy that was real good at jiu-jitsu. And then this is what he would say. And to put things to perspective for me. He said, and I say, man, he was transitioning. He went from one submission to the next. He says, well, did he finish him? I said, no, but he was good. He said, then he wasn't good. He said he wasn't good. He said he wasn't good. He wasn't. You said he was good at jiu-jitsu, but you just said that he went for 3 or 4 different submissions and he didn't finish him. So then the guy wasn't good. And when he said that, it changed my perspective about things. And I'm like, that's actually a really good point. So to your point, then they're not doing ground and pound right, because there's no way you should be able to ground and pound somebody for 5 rounds. That doesn't make sense. You know, ground and pound was very violent. I haven't watched the movie yet, like with this Mark Kerr, the smashing machine that The Rock is portraying this character. That was violent. If he got you down, you was in trouble. Some of the people that you named, even guys like Fedor and things like that, some of these people, when they got you on the ground, you were in trouble. Like, it looked like they were trying to kill you. Right, so it was easy for the ref to step in and stop the fight. They didn't have all these little rules, because when they got down, they got you mounted or side control, they was putting you out. Period. So, but nowadays, ground and pound is about scoring points. So that's why you think it's boring, because these people have dominant positions. I saw somebody the other day, they had the mount. You know what I mean? And the referee almost about ready to stand him up from the mount, because the dude just wasn't really punching. He wasn't doing any damage. He was landing, and the referee's like warning him, but he's like this. He's not really hitting the guy hard enough to be able to do any significant damage. But he's winning the round, right? And that's what it is. I'm winning the round. So they're scoring points. So this isn't real ground and pound. They don't even really call it ground and pound anymore, because guys aren't really pounding when they're down there. You know, unless you're like a Derek Lewis or somebody like that, that's still kind of got that old school kind of appeal, you know, stardom and appeal and fighting style, where when he gets you down, he's racking you. These guys, they're not. They're just securing positions and they're winning rounds. So that's the reason why. Because if they were actually ground and pounding, you couldn't ground and pound somebody for 5 rounds. This is just them securing positions and striking to win the round. And that's why they're getting on the refs. And the refs are now having to make really uncomfortable and stupid decisions. Should I stand this guy up? Like, well, the guy secured the position. The guy on bottom doesn't know how to get out. So by standing the guy on top up, you're penalizing him, because it's his responsibility to learn how to escape the position. But the truth of the matter is, the fans are bored. They're booing. The guy on top really isn't doing his job, and he isn't really doing any significant damage with the position other than resting and scoring points. So the referee's like, look, do I want to stand this guy up from this dominant position? Do I want to let it keep on going on? This is also
referee's gonna take backlash from no matter what decision he makes. He's gonna get backlash for it.
Yeah, and it's a business too. These people pay money to come here. You know what I mean? So it's not really ground and pound what you're seeing. So that's why they don't call it that no more, because they're not ground and pounding.
Let's move on to the professor's perspective. You ready?
I'm ready.
Got you all pulled up. Here we go.
All right, so I worked on this before. Some people call it like a ninja choke. I think they would call it. I call it a power guillotine. And I've showed this before, probably one of our first earlier segments. I was teaching it to a young lady. So I wanted to review this again and show it, from a different perspective, with a different thought process and mindset. So we're looking at it now from an MMA perspective and how we can actually achieve this. So if you're looking, I'm grabbing my student and I start off with a plum, right? With plum is what they call in Muay Thai a clinch. It's called a plum. So with 2 arms behind the neck, I'm controlling his posture. He thinks I'm getting ready to throw a knee or whatever the case is. And then you'll notice I just snatch down and then I just wrap my arm around his neck. So I have the clinch here and he's worried about the knees. I pull down, so I'm going to be able to get the choking position probably easier than I would in a regular jiu-jitsu situation, because in jiu-jitsu, they're not thinking about striking, but he has to be cognizant of all these things. So because his head's been compromised, his balance and his base been compromised, posture's been compromised, by pulling his head down, now he's worried about knees. I can wrap around his head. Once I wrap around the head, I can go for the traditional guillotine, which is just grabbing my own wrist and then kind of lifting here. But instead, you notice I slide the hand in the bicep and the other arm goes behind his neck. Easy to do because of his posture now, right? And once I lock that in, it's very, very, very difficult to get out. It's a lot more powerful. The finish comes a lot faster. You will notice if you watch mixed martial arts, when people get this, the first thing the person try to do is they try to fall down and roll, because that's the only way you can get out. There's no real technical way of being able to get out. There's only a few submissions where people will have to really kind of scramble to get out of, and this is one of them, because there isn't a technical way. A normal guillotine, I can work on pulling 2 hands at the wrist, pulling out so I can get some air and kind of tuck my chin and work out. But this is like a rear naked choke that's modified, right? Instead of coming from behind, when I'm going here and this locks behind the neck, there's no way that you can interfere with either of these hands or the arm in enough time to be able to stop the oxygen from flowing, to your brain. So the first thing they do is they try to drop, hoping that in falling down that the person holding on lets go or loosens the grip, and they'll try to roll, but most times they're not successful with it. So in my perspective, this is the best, option, a choke option. When you are in this position, you have somebody against the cage, you have somebody in a tie clinch or the plum, you have a couple of different opportunities here. One, once I get control of that neck and that head and he's not fighting to get his posture back, he's got multiple things to worry about. He's got to worry about those knees, and I might throw those knees. While he's blocking the knees, it's really easy to get that neck because he's focusing on defending the knees versus worrying about the choke. Once I have it to not give him a chance, the first thing I'm doing is I'm sliding into that power guillotine, and I can almost guarantee you that you're going to finish him. If you remember the John Jones fight, right at the beginning when he first became champion years ago, or right before he did, he caught somebody with this choke real nasty and put him out. I want to say Machida or somebody. I can't remember, but he caught Shogun. Maybe it was Shogun, but he caught him, and I'm talking about he put him out fast. This choke right here will put somebody out 4 to 6 seconds easy. Really, really good choke to use. I call it the power guillotine. So in my perspective, it's a better version of the guillotine, and it's a great way to be able to set it up, from the standing position in MMA.
Okay, cool. Let's move on to our last topic real quick, because it's not much to talk about. But so Jake Paul, he has to find a new opponent. Looks like Tank might not be fighting them. So I saw that they were trying to figure out who he was going to compete against. And I find it interesting that just about everybody on this list that they have for him. I mean, they have Crawford on here, but I don't want to see him fight Crawford. They got Crawford on here. But having Nate Diaz on here,
see, that's what I'm talking about. See, I'm sick of it. I'm tired. I'm tired. I'm tired. I'm tired of it. I briefly saw it because I saw that you shared it a little bit earlier. I was kind of busy today, so I didn't get a chance to really look into it too much. He stood out though. I didn't see everybody on there, but I saw him. He stood out. I just shook my head.
So they got Francis Ngannou on here. Crawford, Nate Diaz, and then Garcia is on here.
Which Garcia? Danny?
Yeah, I believe that is who was in the article. I believe so. It's not coming up. The article won't pull up for me now for whatever reason. But I believe
because you needed to.
Yeah. But is he the same weight? Like, I don't understand. Like, just fight someone that is, maybe not, maybe I think, well, one of the rankings had Jake Paul at 13. All right, fine. Fight whoever is 10 or 9, in your weight division. Why does it have to be a name for this guy every single time? I mean, I get it, it's money, but like, come on now, like
it's not just that. First of all, so I've been seeing it because everything nowadays is clickbait. You'll click on something and they'll make it seem like that it's just happened recently, and when you click on it, it'll be something that happened like a year ago, 6 months ago, or even several years ago. The social media has gotten so bad that it's disgusting to me. Like, I don't trust nothing no more. Everything's AI or clickbait.
Yeah.
So I'll click on something and it's just like, oh, this is tragic details of what happened, such and such. And I got a lot of life going on. So maybe I forgot or missed something. I'll click on it's like, it'll give me this little story, then it's like, in 2023, and I'm like, dude,
you thought it was something recent.
Right, you got me. I won't click on nothing else for the day. Let me get to work, right? you got me, So I did see something about him having a case or something, but again, I didn't know. He always got something going on. They always got something going on. Him and Floyd. So I didn't know if it was new or old. So I never clicked on it. So am I to understand that whatever he has going on is affecting this fight from transpiring?
Yeah, that's what it looks like. Yeah.
Some type of domestic battery case or something like that, where
I don't know. I don't know too much about it, so I didn't want to speak on it. Okay. So everybody's too happy nowadays, man. I don't know what's right, what's wrong, and so much stuff out here. But some type of case he has going on. So because that fight's supposed to be on the 14th, November 14th, but I don't think it's going to happen now.
It has to be a name for him because he's trying to he's cheating and it's working. And it's he's fast tracking himself to a not just success, but to a legendary standpoint by going through the back door. So he's really essentially took in kind of like, and I don't want to use Rocky as an example because that wasn't really what their thought process was according to the movie in Rocky 3. Mickey was giving him guys that was past their prime because he was trying to keep him safe, and successful and winning. So these were actual legitimate fighters that were past their prime, you know what I mean? And he was giving them those no real guys. They had names, but they just wasn't. They didn't have their former glory. You know what I mean? They were not in their prime. He's like, okay, look, I can work from 0 fights and I can work up, and it'll take me 30 to 40 fights before I make a name for myself. You know what I mean? I'm already a somebody. So people already know me aside from boxing. So why should I then start as a white belt, right? Because I already have a black belt. So why should I start at the beginning? Because, I'm already somebody. I want to go right to the top, right? I want to, and that's his way of being able to do it. So eventually he needed to get his feet wet. He needed to gain some confidence. He needed to get some respect. So these are people that are household names. These names, when you hear them, you may not know a lot about boxing, but you've heard this name before. He's finding these people. Now he's getting some decent people that he's going up against that actually at some point in time garnered, a great deal of success, which is why when we talked about this before, I was surprised that this was even going to go on because unlike the other guys, Tank is an accomplished boxer and he's a current boxer, right? So he's still actively boxing. He, on top of it, garnered a great deal of success. And I'm like, this doesn't make any sense for Tank.
But Tank is so small.
Yeah.
Like, Jake Paul is what, like 220?
Something crazy.
Tank ain't that big. He almost outweighs him by almost what, 60 or 70 pounds, maybe even 80. That doesn't make sense.
It never makes sense.
And like Jeff said, it's an exhibition. Well, okay, so if you're an exhibition, like these shouldn't be ranked fights then. It's just an exhibition. And
we talked about this before. As well. That's the clause. We talked about being able to manipulate a situation. Listen, I got eyes. If you see two people fighting, they fought. If I knock you out or I whoop your behind or you whoop my behind, I don't care what you call it. You know what I mean? I know what I saw. Now, whether it count on your record or not, that don't matter, because in the public eyes of opinion, in the public court of opinion, I saw you get beat up and lose. So what it is that if he loses, he gonna say, well, I'm still undefeated. You know what I mean? Nobody never beat me. Do you see it on my record? You bring up the fight. Well, what about Tank? He would, man, look, man, that was exhibition. But if I win, though, y'all saw what I did to Tank. Well, that was exhibition. That don't matter. You saw I fought him. I beat him. When I was out there, I got the win. It ain't on the record, but so it's the way of being able to be smart enough to not actually take a risk, but still be able to get the reward on the other side of it. You still got the footage. You still gonna use that. You're gonna not use the footage because it was an exhibition. You're gonna use that as part of your highlight reel. You're gonna use that as part of your legacy. He's trying to fast track a legacy, right? And he's doing it by going out the back door. So everybody didn't have access to these fighters. They might have been able to beat these people 10, 12 fights ago, but you couldn't do it because, hey, I'm Floyd. Hey, I'm Pacquiao. Hey, I'm Tank. You don't get to fight me. You only have 20 fights. No, you wait your turn. You know what I mean? Him, Jake Paul. I'm fighting Floyd. First fight. Bring it on. What? You know what I mean? Stuff like that. Stuff like it's crazy. It's crazy. So, of course, these people are going to be up in arms about it, and rightfully so. So, they're going to give him somebody whack. They're going to give him somebody whack now because this was a fight that would have been a fight. Now, why it's not happening, I'm assuming it's because of whatever's going on with him legally. But the rest of the people that I saw in the picture and the people that you named, this is not the same type of caliber of individuals.
No, but also for something like this, I don't think they're going to give him a person that we've never heard of before. I think it's going to be a big name person, whoever replaced him, because this is supposed to be a deal on Netflix, and you got Jake Paul. So, I'm not tuning in. They want eyes. Netflix want eyes. Nobody's tuning in to see Jake Paul against Marcus Smith, whoever that is.
Right.
It has to be a name, so, but
I don't see
on the flip side, what I would do if I'm some of these MMA guys, I'm going to be like, all right, if I sign this contract for this boxing, we're going to sign another contract if I get a rematch in MMA. Like, because him and his brother beating up on MMA guys, and the MMA guys ain't getting nothing out of it. Except for they getting paid, but I mean.
Well, I think that he's smart because he already, to shut that down, he's teased at doing MMA as well to be able to give the impression that he's willing to do it. So that way people don't decide to start adding his clause in. But the truth of the matter is he ain't going to do it because if he's smart, he wouldn't do it. Just like the MMA guys, if they were smart, they wouldn't fight in boxing. But the pay disparity is so different between these two sports that these guys don't really care about legacy or integrity. See, we're martial artists. For me, from my perspective, I'm looking at it like this. Like, that you're going into a totally different realm in sport, and that it's damaging the activity that you do by going over there, fighting under their rule set, and then losing and embarrassing everybody else. Like, we need to stand as a united front and say, we're not doing this. Y'all need to come over here. You know what I mean? Because ain't none of y'all coming over here to do it. So come over here, and then we'll meet over here. Now, that's me being a noble martial artist with this moral compass and things like that. But also, ain't nobody offering me $30 million, right? You know what I'm saying? Like $500,000 to fight in MMA, $10 million to be able to fight. This is life-changing money, right? Yeah. So when the dollars come, they're like, look, man, screw all this ethic stuff, this legacy stuff. this is some right now money. And on top of it, they really believe they can win because as MMA fighters, we do have to train in what it is that you do exclusively, by the way, right? A lot of these guys, they don't just have any more just striking coaches. Some of these guys, they have actual boxing coaches where they just have days, 2 or 3 days out of the week where they just box. MMA guys to get ready for their fights. But boxers, they're not grappling. There's no reason. They're not wrestling at all. So we have an arrogance about us because we're like, I train boxing. I box guys, boxing sprawling to get ready for my fight camps. So I should be able to get in there and hold my own. And it don't work.
But that's a crazy idea, though. I get it that they have boxing 2 or 3 days a week, but if you're going to get somebody that's trained in boxing 6 days a week, doing 2 days or 3 days, 3 a day, it's like the math ain't gonna add up. Like you're gonna be at a disadvantage, And somebody who kind of did something like this early back in the day was Kimbo Slice. Like Kimbo got known for beating up, people that wasn't on his level, even though it wasn't on it wasn't in a professional thing. It was in it's in the backyard. He's doing backyard fights, but he got popular off that. But eventually he had to step in and start fighting against, serious competitors that were on his level when he found out like they were a little bit better than him. Kimbo won some fights in the UFC, but it wasn't many. And then he did some stuff outside, but he wasn't as successful as he was in the backyard.
Right.
So when you finally face people that's on your level, we're going to see how good you really are. But fighting against people where you got the advantage or these exhibition fights, man, that's for the birds for me. Oh well. Anything else, Zeke?
That's it, man. That's it. Right. Another great show, man.
There we go. So I got something for you next week. I'm gonna just leave a teaser, but we're gonna start off with what it just hit me just now. We're gonna have a good conversation. I'm gonna make sure I'm gonna make sure we're gonna have a good conversation. I'm gonna make sure I write it down so I don't forget, and that's gonna be the first topic we talk about next week. I'm gonna let you know as soon as we get off the podcast right now, though. Okay. All right, everyone, stay safe, stay strong. What'd you say?
I said I'm excited, so you guys got to tune in because he just came up with it. So I don't even know what this is, right? So I guess that's the teaser. So tune in and see what it is.
All right, stay safe, stay strong. We'll holler at you next week, and I'm going to end this show. Peace.
Peace.